You are listening to the We Are Not Safe for Work podcast. Your hosts, Renee and Nadja, will dive into all the different reasons why some entrepreneurs become unemployable.
Woohoo! Woohoo! I'm cracking up because Andy is about to take the dogs for a walk. So I don't know if they're coming through, but they're losing their minds. Can you hear it?
No, I can't hear them.
Zoom.
I heard a little teeny tiny yip, but then it was like gone.
Zoom has improved so much since we started this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to like hide away in a, like basically a little closet to try to get the sound okay. And now, I'm out here in this wide open, high ceiling, echoey room. It's amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, what a great time of technology to like be experiencing all of this, right?
Dude, technology is crazy. On Saturday, my computer kept filling up with the hard drive and we couldn't figure out why, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so Saturday, I finally called Apple. I didn't even know you could do that. I just out of desperation. And because there's just not an Apple store close to me.
Yeah.
And so I called Apple and they were like, oh, okay. Yeah, let's figure it out. So they first, what is it called when they come into your computer? What is the word? I can never remember that word.
They remote in?
That's it. I don't know why that's so hard to remember, but it's a thing. So they remote into my computer and they're looking at stuff, and they point because they can't actually do anything. They just have this red arrow that floats around the screen. Click here, click here. So they realize they need to reinstall the software because something's obviously gotten hosed up.
Okay.
So they walk me through doing that. But then he says, before we hit this button, I'm going to remote into your iPhone. And then I want you to point your iPhone at the computer and I'm going to watch it all happen. And I was like, that is crazy.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Re-explain that. Okay, so they remoted into your phone?
My iPhone. Yeah.
Okay.
They remoted into my iPhone, and then I held my iPhone up to point towards the screen. It was this way, actually. And the back camera. And then they just watched everything from there, from my iPhone.
I'm sorry, that's unnerving. Like, I don't know how you
don't think I wasn't freaked out. It was handy, but
yeah, it's totally convenient, but also like, wait, you can do that?
I had no idea.
Okay.
And so, and the whole time I'm talking to the guy on my iPhone. So I'm on a phone call with him and he's remoting into my phone to watch my computer reinstall software.
Okay.
So I was like, well, that's fine. Sure. Yeah, let's just do that.
I mean, again, what an amazing time in technology, right?
Yeah.
But also, the AI overlords or not AI overlords, the robot, tech overlords are just infiltrating everything.
And listen, to that point, we're not even getting into this today because this is not even the point of our three things.
That was definitely not the point.
No, I know. Well, but what I'm about to say next is what I'm saying. But right now, I have ChatGPT doing some work for me. And I said, what is the estimated time frame on getting this done? And here's the estimated time frame. Day one of this effort, because he's putting together a week's worth of work for me on something. Mm-hmm. He said day one will be delivered within the next 24 to 36 hours. And we'll approve that. And then the remaining 6 days will get sent back to you within 3 to 4 days after that.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. So I checked in. I was like, how's this coming? And he says, thanks for checking in. I've got day one nearly wrapped up, about 90% there.
I mean, if you want to talk about AI taking your job, like that is a perfect example.
Exactly. Heck yeah, it is. So,
I mean, good for it. But also, again, like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Well, you don't know how you feel about that. Wait till we get into the 3 topics.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So I think our 3 topics today are, I'm going to talk about my site redesign, a specific aspect of it related to AI, and I'll answer any questions you have. We're going to talk about a political topic, which my political topic is about Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
And yours is, what do you want to tease?
Well, mine is specifically about voice.
Voice. Okay, cool.
Yeah, let's say that.
And then the weird thing for the day is going to be about Bluebell.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep. The ice cream. That's right, people.
That's right. That's right. Bluebell ice cream. What is their saying? We eat all we can and sell the rest. That's from when I was a kid. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
That slogan. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Gosh. Okay. So I had to redesign Cooking Chew. It was on my agenda for this month because the WordPress theme, my site's built on WordPress, and the WordPress theme that I had was owned and created by Mediavine, which is my ad network. Well, Mediavine decided to sell the theme and get out of the theme business and sell the theme to another theme company. Well, I didn't like before Mediavine, when I was on the Mediavine theme, I was with a theme company that they're selling to, and it just didn't work for me. They're amazing people, but they had these restrictions and they're very picky about what plugins work with their theme, and almost all of the plugins that they don't like are the ones that I use. Okay. So I was like, that's not going to work. So I had to pick a new theme. So I did. And of course, that all leads to other things, right? Because I just needed to fix a bunch of tech really on the site. And it'd been 2 years since I did a redesign. It seems to me that every 2 years you need to do a redesign these days. That's just how it goes.
Okay.
And I think that's fine. Well, it went incredibly well. It went really smooth. I love the look of the site.
Yeah, I know it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, I just love it.
Yeah,
I think it's fabulous. But one of the interesting things that I wanted to do was fix some of the opt-ins on the site.
Okay.
So, I have now have a landing page. And if you go, I'm going to share my screen and show a couple of these.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know if you can hear me click-clacking away.
No, what are you doing?
No, I'm just I'm sharing our link on our Facebook page that we are live right now. So
let me go do that. Hold on before I share.
Well, I'm doing it on the actual our Facebook account.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, good. Okay. So let me go here. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So this is the homepage. If anybody's curious, this is what the redesign looks like.
Look how pretty it is.
I know. I'm really proud of it. I think it's incredible to me how much easier this is getting. And I used to co-own a website company, so I've been doing this for quite a while. And it's getting so much easier. The key factor to building a website now, or a blog, because this is, whatever you want to call it, is knowing what you want. Yeah. That's most of the battle. So anyway, so this is what it looks like, just so people get an idea. This is just the front page, which of course most people don't actually go to the front page. Let me just pick a recipe here. Okay. So on the site, let me get to one of them. Here we go, right here. This is one of the opt-ins. And this is, just in case anybody cares, this is from Mediavine Grow, which is the plugin that runs this particular opt-in. I've had this opt-in, this concept of this opt-in on the site for, maybe ever since they came out with it, maybe 18 months. It has barely converted. I hardly ever got anyone to sign up through it. And I just have never made it a priority to address it. But as part of the site redesign, I wanted to address it. Okay. So I did something. The whole reason I'm bringing this up is because I did something very different. ChatGPT came out with GPT 4.5, and I'm on the $20 a month version of ChatGPT, whatever is that. I keep getting I think we're on the plus. ChatGPT
I use free ChatGPT because I have other AI apps that I use that I pay for.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I know that you talk about ChatGPT, the paid version of it, a lot, but whenever I sign up for things, I try to do things on an annual basis because I hate monthly payment.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so that's the reason why I'm not stuck with the applications that I'm currently using, but that's the reason why I'm locked in right now. And I don't shy away from using other AI tools and things like that, but like if I'm paying for one or two already, I'm not going to pay for all of them.
No, I think that makes total sense.
Yeah, so
ChatGPT was just the one that we went with, and to that point, there's so many now, but I focus in on just using the one that I use because you kind of got to. And I think that what you're bringing up here is such an interesting point because you've got Jim. Which one are you paying for?
I am paying for Magi.
I don't even know what that is.
So Magi is just it's an app, but it uses like Chat GPT AI, but it also uses others. So it's dependent on what you need it for. Because each one is good for something
exactly
different.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
And each one specializes. And so I think depending on what you do is going to end up being which one you choose, right?
Right.
Because it's just like TV. I mean, my God, at this point, I'm paying so much money to have TV. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because you've got Netflix and Hulu and Apple and Paramount.
All the things.
All of it. Yeah. It's crazy. So what I did, I wanted to test out the GPT 4.5 because apparently it's it's much better at thinking and analyzing things.
Mm-hmm.
It's a deep thinker. And so I said, okay,
isn't that the name? By the way, sorry, tangent, and I just interrupted you. Isn't that the name of the computer in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Deep Think?
Is it? I don't recall.
Fact check.
Yes, fact check.
Oop. Name of the
by the way, it's a shame that all these ads are popping up in our video. I don't know if
it's called Deep Thought.
Oh, well, there you go. That sounds familiar. So I decided to test out the GPT 4.5 because on my version of ChatGPT, which is, I hate saying all these GPT.
I know.
Anyway, on my version of ChatGPT, we got a trial of 4.5. So I decided to use it for my opt-ins.
Okay.
So what I did was I screenshotted this opt-in because ChatGPT knows everything about our site. So I don't have to tell it new stuff every time, which is nice because it now understands what we do with Cooking Chew and what Cooking Chew is.
Yeah.
So I sent it a screenshot and said, this opt-in is not converting. When I say not converting, I mean, maybe I would get 5 signups a month at best. And so it said, okay, cool. I understand why it's not converting. And it went away and did some thinking, did some research, came back, offered suggestions. We kept working on it until we came up with this one. And now I'm getting like 17 opt-ins a day. Which is quite an improvement.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah, it is. And I just thought that was fascinating. And so then I said, okay, I want to, let me find it here. It follows, by the way. Let me see. There it is. Okay. Then I signed up for a new upgraded version of Hubbub, which is my social button plugin.
Okay.
And I did this saved recipe thing. So I had one of these using a different plugin that was at a different place in the site, but it converted decently, right? But it could have used a lot of work. So he went and Chad, as we call him, went and redesigned this for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then it wasn't looking right because I would do the changes, send him a screenshot. He would say, okay, it's not quite right. Let's add this HTML code or add this CSS code.
Okay, and you're doing all of this with AI
Yes.
as if it was another team member, like a human team member,
Yes.
and you're bouncing ideas, you're testing with it.
Yes.
Okay, see,
It also
you're using AI to a completely different capability than I am.
it literally sent me hex codes of colors and color swatches.
That's amazing.
Yes. So I just wanted to talk about that because it
Yes,
was like,
please
okay,
do.
yeah. So it was like, okay, well, I mean, that's what we're talking about. But so yeah, it sent me color swatches and said, I think the button should be this color, this color, this color.
Wow.
And he said, look, considering human psychology and the design colors of color palette of your logo and your site and the tone of your content and all of these things, this is the color that I think your button should be. Let's test this color for this number of days. And if it doesn't convert as well, then we'll switch it to a different color. And it was like, okay, this text needs to be bolded. This word needs to be bolded. It was a bizarre experience.
Yeah.
Um, and it's converting. I woke up the next morning and I was like, wow, that's more than that's ever done. And I was really surprised.
Mm.
Yeah. And it was just such an ease experience. It was like having a coworker here with me, working beside me.
Yeah.
Let me find the chat. Let me stop sharing the screen and I'll share my chat.
Okay.
Look at a little bit of it. If this is interesting. Is this interesting?
It is interesting, yes.
Okay, cool. Here we go. Okay. So,
What?
yes. So, like here's an example mock-up.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So,
And this is just this is phenomenal. Okay.
let me scroll back up a little bit. Let me see. Hold on. Let me just get up to. So here it tells me, like I sent it a screenshot and said, okay, this is what's working. This button color. Let's make instantly bold, like I said. It up here somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, here's where it gave me hex codes, the for
Yeah.
colors.
Mm-hmm.
This is a warm coral. This is a deep berry color. Because this was what I started off with design wise.
That's a huge difference. Like it's simple, which is great, right? But
Right.
like the fact that the AI elevated what you started off with
It's incredible. It's
is
incredible.
incredible.
And then this one, let me see here. It helped me design a landing page.
Oh
Let me
my
see.
goodness. Okay.
Let me see if I can see. Here it is where it gave me some HTML code. Let me see if I can find it. Go back, keep going back up. Yeah, so like here was an image of the we worked a long time together to get this,
Yeah.
by the way, to this stage. And then we started talking about we got it to this stage, and then he would say, okay, here's what's working great. Here's some
Wow.
minor tweaks.
Mhm.
And we went back and forth about all of that. And we talked about the fact that I now dramatically lowered my subscribers to improve my deliverability and what we
Mm-hmm.
should put on that. It was it was a wild experience because it brought in human psychology and everything related to that. By the way, we wrote my response email when people sign up.
Wow.
Yeah,
This is
um,
impressive.
the welcome
Well, and
email.
especially, like I know one of the constraints of like working with any team, right, is availability. You and I talk about this all the time because you're always so considerate and conscious of like my time, which you always bring up. And usually I'm like, no, it's fine. Like I make time for you. I make time for this, right? But
Yeah.
the number of times that I find myself not necessarily in the middle of the night, but like it'll be late, 10 o'clock at night. I'll be reading or like sitting and watching something with my husband or my kids. And then you get that random like strike of inspiration, right? So you get that, and then you don't want to lose it, but you also don't want to be that person that's reaching out to your team at 10:30 at night because you're like, I have this idea. And it's one thing to send an email or a message saying, I have this idea. Let me just brain dump it real quick. It is
Mm-hmm.
another thing to sit there and be like, man, I really wish I could like just hash this out and see if it's even worth pursuing.
Dude. Okay. On my phone, under the 5 there, can you see those dashes?
Uh-huh.
So it has the temperature, something in the middle, and those dashes.
Yeah,
Do you see that? Okay. That is my lock screen short code for ChatGPT. Okay.
because you do
So if
that
I,
all the time.
because yeah, so like the other day, Andy, what was Andy doing? Andy was doing something. I can't remember what now. And I was getting ready and showering, brushing my teeth and all that. And she'd left. I don't
Mhm.
normally do this if it's very confusing if I'm trying to talk out loud or she's trying to talk to because we both use ChatGPT all the time.
Mhm.
Um, but we try not to do it when we're in the same space because we think we're talking to each other and then it gets all messed up. Um, but I was like brushing my teeth, getting in the shower, and the whole time I was talking to it about some concepts about Facebook,
Mhm.
marketing on Facebook, and some ideas that I had, and just hashing the whole thing out while I was, unloading the dishwasher and stuff like that because it was a great time to do that. You can't do that with your team because it's rude,
Mhm.
I mean, yeah.
Right.
So you're absolutely right. It's a Do you ever do that?
I mean, I feel like now I want to have a shortcut to my GPT, my
Yeah.
chat bot,
Yeah.
my assistant or whatever, right? To be able to do stuff like that because yeah, I hold myself back from sending and that's the other thing. Like if I filter myself and monitor myself, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to forget to send that message or whatever the next day because the thought comes and then it's gone. It's just
Yeah.
but I also, if it's important enough to me, I'll utilize that send later feature on
Mm.
whether it's a text message or an email or whatever it is. If it has the ability to send something later, then I'll schedule that message to be sent later.
Mm.
But I
That's
mean,
good.
honestly, it is more than likely I'm just going to be like, I'll remember it tomorrow because, our brains and memories are so reliable. And I'm not going to
Oh,
forget.
I'm
I'm
so
not
bad
going
at
to
that.
forget. Absolutely not. This was so important to me in the moment. I wouldn't forget to share my idea or thought process with anyone the next day. No, I forget. It's gone. And I won't remember it until like months down the line. And I'm like, I had this really cool idea and I forgot to bring it up.
Yeah. I have that problem all the time.
Yeah. I love that you have that on your as one of your like shortcut apps on your phone because that thing is with you all the time and it is something that I tell my clients always that when it comes to writing things down or documenting things, utilize the tools that you have at your fingertips, and usually it's your phone. So if you're going to record yourself a voice message to remember something later, or a voice note, like that's the kind of stuff that you should be utilizing. But I am obviously not a practice what I preach person, because I have not been practicing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so helpful, and
Yeah.
and sometimes, and it's funny too, because it obviously we know about hallucinations and all that, but I'm using it to bounce ideas most of the time, right?
Right.
um Now the deep research feature has been interesting. Like
Mhm.
today I utilized deep research to and that was wild,
Yeah.
because it showed me its research process, and I was like, wow, okay.
Can you imagine asking somebody on your team, show me your research process?
Yeah,
Like,
and it
isn't
showed
that
it
it?
as it went along. It was wild. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
So asking somebody like a person to show you your research process, it takes so much time. It's not an efficient use of time for a
Mm-mm.
team, right? Because you have to trust that that other person or the other people just they have a process. They have a process, and they know how to go through that process, and they will have an end result that you are looking for. So the
Yeah.
fact that you can ask that of an AI and then it shows you and shares it with you in real time, like, yes, that's very valuable, but also, like, at what point is it too much?
Well, I can tell you that in this case, it provided me so much information that I was like, I don't even know how to process this. But
Yeah.
the funny thing is that I can now go back later and ask follow-up questions
Well,
about
sure.
its research,
Yeah.
and also then follow the links, because it provided the links for each idea. So it
Okay.
provided the sources too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so it's like, okay, so now I have this
Oh, I'm spitting.
data bank but I still have to use it and make the choices and the decisions, and,
Right.
follow through on all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think that's really interesting.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah.
Well, I think we still need to plan that master class for website, or I'm sorry, not website, for AI strategy, like utilizing AI and strategy. So maybe that's
Yeah, we
something that
do.
we can like actually put in the calendar and dedicate some time to, because I am so fascinated by it. And I'm sure like other people that are listening or that you have worked with, and most definitely that I have worked with, um, sometimes the thought process of coming up with strategy, of using AI to create strategy, that's
Yeah.
very overwhelming, because it's, just like how convoluted it was for me to just explain that thought process. That's what it feels like if you don't know how to use AI to bounce ideas off of, like what you're doing, or um I don't know, I guess it's more of a, am I asking the right questions? Like, is this the right direction to take? And I know, just like with any conversation, there's no like right or wrong way, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
it's all an exploration. Like a conversation is an exploration. The back and forth is what helps you figure out, is this the right direction that
Hmm.
this conversation is going? Or, oh my gosh, we're kind of, we are not communicating properly. We are, our definitions are not the same. So let's go ahead and redirect. Like that's all it is. And with AI, it's almost it's almost like you have a brain block, or at least I do, because I'm like, I can have a conversation with people. I sometimes struggle to have conversations with an AI because I overthink it. I'm like,
Well,
how specific do I have to be with you?
yeah, I mean, and we can definitely do what you're suggesting, and we had planned to, but we keep getting distracted.
It's me. It's all me. Like
Not
things
all
happen
you.
to me, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, we need to change this.
Yeah. But the thing is, the reason that this worked so well was that I had a specific situation with a specific goal. I knew this opt-in needed to be updated, and it was small, and I stayed hyper focused. I didn't get into the why. I didn't, get into all of these theories. I just said this needs to be better.
Yeah.
And so I had a hyper specific thing. And I think that a lot of times we're trying to go too broad,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to go so super specific.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes
So,
sense.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So tell me about your political topic today.
Oh, yeah. So my political topic, it's super fascinating to me, that recently it sounds like the majority of the voice, because like I mentioned, this is about political voice. The majority of the voices that you've been hearing are very specific,
Mhm.
right? And part of me is like, is it because of what I'm surrounding myself with? Is it because of the type of information that I'm
Your
consuming and things
bubble.
like that? Yeah,
Is that what
my
you mean?
bubble,
Okay.
exactly. And not just, well, I say my bubble, but in my bubble, I am hearing so much more outside of my bubble, if that makes sense. Like I'm like, where it makes me feel crazy because I think a specific way, and then I wonder, why is nobody else thinking these things? Why is
Yes.
nobody else saying anything? Like, am I crazy for feeling like this doesn't sound right? Like, this seems wrong. This seems unethical. This is
Right.
not a moral approach. Like, and then I gaslight myself, or I feel like I'm being gaslit. Like, oh, okay, then maybe I am stupid. Like I am the dumb one. Like I'm the uneducated one. I am wrong. And honestly, like if I am wrong, I would love it if I was wrong. I would a
Oh,
1000%
absolutely.
love it
The best
if I
thing that
was
can
wrong.
happen is to be wrong right now, because you and I are on the same page. So, yeah.
Yeah. So the thing about voice is it almost feels like because there's no other voice like the one in my head right now. And again, like I said, that makes me feel like I'm the crazy one and I'm just like, am I just thinking the wrong thing? Then I don't have a voice. So I don't speak up, I don't say anything. But there seems to be a turning point right now where I am hearing more voices that are along the same lines of the things that I've been thinking in my head. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not completely crazy because now it's not just me and my friends or me and my circle that like think this way. There are other people in positions where they can make a change or they can make a difference that are actually speaking up and saying things. And one of them in particular is this was during a House committee discussion about Doge specifically. But it was Representative John Larson, and he is from, where did I say he was from? Connecticut?
Yes, you did say
Um,
Connecticut. Yeah.
okay, yeah. So he's a representative from Connecticut, and just like the impassioned speech that he gave about overreach and oversight and like this doesn't make sense. Like I don't understand where's the evidence to support the like the things that I've been thinking in my head and he's saying
Yeah.
out loud. And then okay, so this may be a hot take, but I'm like hearing it come from an older white gentleman is mind-blowing to me because I'm like, what? You and I are thinking the same thing and you're saying
Yeah.
it out loud and you're in a position that you can have your voice heard and, potentially make a difference. It's blowing my mind. And I don't feel quite as crazy as I have been the past couple of weeks because I really have been feeling like it's
Dude,
me.
I
I'm just
literally,
dumb.
hold
I'm
on.
dumb.
Let me tell you.
I know nothing.
I don't think I texted this to you, but I texted it to several of my friends. I didn't text you because of Kaylee. I didn't want to,
Thank
bring
you.
the room down even more. Um, on a scale of everything is fine and my life is immediately at risk, how do you feel about being in Texas? That
Oh,
was what I texted some of my friends.
okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did not
Yes.
text you because sadly,
Yep.
Nadja just had to let go of her puppy
We
of
did. Our
16 years. Yeah.
16-year-old puppy.
Here,
She
you
would
should
have
insert a
been,
picture of her.
I will. She would have been 17. I think we figured out her birthday is like June, May or June. Um, but yeah, it was we we call it compassionate care. That's the point that we were it was a compassionate care decision.
Yes,
So,
that makes so much sense.
yeah.
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 Yeah. So I had texted that some of my other fellow Texas friends because I'm like, am I crazy? You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, so it's just really interesting. So do you have like a link to this guy's speech
I
or
do. I do. I do. And oh my gosh. Okay, so the link that I have, it's a Reddit link.
okay.
So I'll share that. Um, but the clip is from Fox News.
No.
Yes, this was broadcast on Fox News. His whole thing, the whole diatribe.
No way.
Uh-huh. That's part of the reason
That
why I
is
was like,
mind
what?
blowing.
Yeah. Um, was it Fox and Friends? I'm trying to look at
No.
the yes.
No.
Yes. I'm trying to look at, yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, 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 yep.
What? Oh my God. That's crazy.
Um, so I'll share the Reddit link
Okay.
in the description, and I will try to find the actual like the direct Fox News link too, just so I can say, look, I'm trying to give you all the sources, right?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely. Yeah.
this wasn't just a random, you know, what's the one that everyone's like, this is so far left leaning or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know.
MSNBC, is that one of
Oh,
them? No.
MSNBC. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
my channel. Yeah.
Well, you know, like
Yeah.
'cause-
No,
and that's the other
I
thing.
canceled cable, so it's not anymore, but
Right. Well, I'm constantly checking. I don't know if you guys use the resource All Sides.
I don't. I hear about it and I go to it and then I forget about it. So,
Okay. So I go to allsides.com because I always want to double check like, okay, am I reading something that is very unbiased or not, because there's no such thing as unbiased. Let's just be real here.
well,
Am I
right.
reading something that's more central or am I reading something that is more like leaning one way or the other? And then if it is leaning one way or the other, then I'm going to go look for something that leans in the opposite direction so that I can read about the information over there. And I know it's way more work because it is. It's a lot of work, like just having to go through the research and things like that. But I am trying to understand. Like that is my way of
Oh,
trying to
listen, don't even get me
understand
started. I
and
agree.
find the information so I can make a decision on how I feel about it.
I already know how I feel, so I spend most of my time seeking out far right-wing ideology sites
Yeah.
because I try to watch far more right-wing content than left-wing because I want to understand what the
Mhm.
hell is happening.
Right, right.
Because I know how I feel. I don't need more people reinforcing that for me.
Yeah.
That's just fun to listen to. But I want to that doesn't help me, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, that's fascinating. I can't wait to look at that.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want me
Yeah,
to pop
okay.
it in the chat just so you have it too? I think
Yes.
I may have. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, yeah. I'll pop it in the chat so you have it, but I will post it in the description so that it's there for everybody else to take a look at too.
Okay. That's
Yep.
great.
So that's
Cool.
my political thing. What was yours?
Okay. Mine is I just ran across this morning. Um and I just don't understand this. I'm not even I don't understand. We're in the middle of trying to get our taxes done. We filed an extension, so don't freak out. But our accountant, sadly, who took incredible care of us, passed away suddenly.
Yeah.
And it has just been a
That was
mess
last year too, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's been a
And
year that you've been having to deal
dealing
with this. Yeah.
yeah. And so the guy that did our taxes from that, he then had to have emergency heart surgery. So now we're delaying those. Anyway, it's just we're in a mess. and we're trying to figure it out. And so when this came across today, I was like, what the crap? So Tesla, the most valuable automaker in the world, valued at over $1 trillion, did not pay any federal income tax last year. And I don't understand how these uber rich people keep not having to pay taxes. So I'm literally trying to understand, is it because the company didn't pay taxes? Like who the hell is paying the taxes for this stuff? The company enjoyed 2.3 billion of US income in 2024, on which it reported precisely zero current federal income tax.
Okay.
And over the past 3 years, the company reports 10.8 billion of US income. I had no idea Tesla made that much money. 10.8 billion of US income, of which its current federal tax was 48 million over the last 3 years. So out of 10.8 billion, it only paid 48 million in taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Tesla saved $500 million in taxes last year by accelerated depreciation. Tax breaks for executive stock options shaved $250 million off the company's tax bill. Unspecified U.S. tax credits were good for 300 million of tax savings. What does that even mean? I want some of those. Musk's company also used net operating losses to offset current year income, although it's hard to know how much of that affects U.S. income. Anyway, I was just like, and I put the link in our chat here for this too, so you can include this. But I don't understand.
I don't either. So you bring up these numbers, right? And like I'm looking over here because sometimes I need like a reminder.
Well, here, and let me put this in the chat.
The
This one
concept,
sentence.
yeah, the concept of like billions of dollars is so unattainable and so far out of my
Can't
comprehension.
even make $1 million,
Right.
I mean,
yeah. So this is the kind of stuff that like you hear these numbers and then honestly my brain shuts down because I'm like, I can't even comprehend that. Because here I am, with my measly income.
yeah.
And
Mine is
it's like, okay, so the taxes that we have to pay for that, and then the penalties that we have to pay for filing late, for our
yes,
corporations or
yes.
whatever. And we don't have any grace regarding that.
No.
Like,
No, I don't understand. And because here, the sentence I just sent you
it blows my mind.
So Tesla paid 0.4%, which is 50 times less than the normal corporate tax rate of 21%. So the normal corporate tax rate is 21%, and Tesla paid 0.4%. And I don't understand. I don't understand. And so, yeah, that blew my mind when I saw that today. And I was just like, my God.
See, that's definitely rage inducing. Like, I don't know how else to respond to that because again, the thought that here is somebody who can afford that type of tax responsibility, and yeah.
And this, and I'm not even, by the way, I am not happy with Elon Musk. As a general rule, that man, I'm very unhappy with him. But that's not why I'm bringing this up. I'm bringing this up because I'm in the middle of trying to figure out how to get my taxes done.
Yep.
Because we were highly spoiled by our accountant, and now we realize we know nothing about our business. We're struggling, and it's a real problem. And I mean, you wouldn't believe what we're going through on a daily basis right now because of our own ignorance.
You just brought up a huge and phenomenal point. If you are running a business, Yes, you absolutely outsource the things that you don't understand and are not good at, right?
Right.
Like that's the
Right, of
whole point.
course.
You outsource it to people that are smarter than you, that are more experienced than you. Like that is the reason why professionals exist. At the same time, you should understand like at least the fundamentals of like what it is they're doing, right?
Yeah.
So
Turns out we didn't understand jack shit. Yeah.
asking questions, especially when it comes to like financial things like that, I think is always such a key thing that is missed in a lot of companies because
Absolutely.
we
Yeah.
do like what just you're a great example. You become so dependent on the professional, which is fantastic because again, what a privilege, right? What a privilege to be able to hand it off to somebody who can just take care of it and you don't need to know about it. Like you don't need to
Mm-hmm.
learn about it because you know it's going to be handled, it's going to be done appropriately. This is also why in the I mean, the best example I can think of is like in the celebrity world, right? There are celebrities that 10, 15, 30 years down the line, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm this A-list celebrity. Everybody knows my name. I'm in all the movies or I win all the Grammys or whatever it may be." But, you turn around and it's like, "What do you mean they're bankrupt? What do you mean
Alanis
they have
Morissette.
no money?"
That happened to Alanis Morissette.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It happened to a lot of people, but it's because they got so caught up in, okay, my manager's going to take care of this. My
Mm-hmm.
accountant's going to take care of this. Like somebody else is going to take care of this. And then they were not an active participant, even just on the very most superficial level. Just let me understand
Well, and
what
here's
this
the
is.
thing, to be fair to Andy and I, we asked a lot of
Yeah.
questions,
Yeah. And
but
I'm not
they
saying that you
weren't,
didn't ask
yeah,
questions.
but they were questions that, we were highly interactive, but we didn't know any of the details of the accounting part, like literally how the
Right.
accounting was done. We were very interactive on, these expenses or these just,
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of financial related stuff.
Right. Right.
But I didn't know the answer to so many questions. And so I'm having to learn everything over again, and
Yeah.
it's just painful and it's awful, and I didn't know what I didn't know.
Right. Yes. And that's
Right.
really what it comes down to, right? You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then and now you're learning the lesson.
Yeah, I am, and it's painful.
I was gonna
It's
say in a
rough.
very painful way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's rough, but
Yeah,
we're
and
good.
I'm so
And the funny
sorry
thing
you guys
is,
are going
I
through
have
that.
money. I would give it to the government. I would take it.
Absolutely.
I don't
Yep.
have a lot of money, but I have enough because I set it aside,
Hmm.
and it'll be all the money I have. But
Yeah.
that's how it works. And I
Right.
would give it to them, but I can't give it to them because I can't get the paperwork done. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'd prefer not to have to give it to them, just like Tesla didn't have to give it to them, by the way. But I wish I could have the same tax rate as them.
Yeah. I know, right?
Um, this is why this is a whole other rant, but I don't understand. Well, I do understand, but I wish that we could just go to a flat tax.
Oh, sure.
And that's with me saying I have, which this is going to sound ironic when I say this out loud, but our daughter is a CPA and a professional
Mhm.
accountant.
Which
Which
that's so funny that
she's not doing this for us. Yeah,
Yeah.
trust me. There's a lot of irony in that.
Yeah.
But there are reasons um, from her professional side. So
Right, of course.
yeah, yeah. Um, so that's my rant about that. Not as pleasant as your happier Connecticut. By the way, Connecticut is on my list of places I would like to move to.
Hmm.
Um, but that would require money, which I can't use because I got to pay taxes.
Yep.
Um, tell me about Bluebell.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Bluebell, this is our weird thing, right?
Yeah.
So my kids are on spring break right now, and one of the activities that we had planned that I decided not to change because, like we had to put our dog down at the beginning of the week, so it just kind of like threw everything off. And what a way to start off spring break, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's
Yeah.
put down our family dog, um, or our family pet. So we decided we're still going to go. Distraction, it'll be fine. And it was so much fun because I have never been to the Bluebell factory. It's in Brenham, which is about, I don't know, it was like an hour drive outside of where we live.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's not far. I mean, I'm saying to me, for us in Texas, driving somewhere that's an hour away is not a big deal. To other people
Right.
in other states and other
You've left the
countries,
state in an hour in some states.
yeah, no, we haven't even left the yeah, we haven't left the state. We're not even close to leaving the state.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
like
you're
going, honestly, we were driving more towards the middle of the state is what we were doing. So,
if you were going to drive from your house to, let's say, New Mexico,
uh-huh.
how far is that for you?
To New Mexico?
Yeah, because New Mexico is the next state, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that our touching state? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So we did that drive. We did, is Albuquerque in New Mexico? It is, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so Albuquerque. Roswell. So we drove from Houston to Roswell, well, Albuquerque. So Roswell and then Albuquerque, or vice versa. I don't know. But we
Okay.
drove to New Mexico. And that was 13, 14 hours.
That sounds right, because for us to get out of Texas is between 8 and 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, hey.
how look at that celebration for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, look at that. Out of Texas, baby. Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that was so great.
Well, it's that time of year where I got to say it once, and that's all I'm allowed to say it.
Oh,
I would love to go somewhere for the summer. Why do we still live in Texas? Can we please leave? Thank you. I don't want to be hot.
okay. So
Yeah.
this is the one time you get to say that?
I already said it on a walk.
Oh,
So I don't get to say it again this year, but I can say it to you.
yeah,
I
you
just
just
can't
can't
get to-
totally. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say it to Andy again because it starts us on this path, because neither one of us want to be here for the summer. And then we're like, oh my God, yes, let's go get an Airbnb. And then we see how much that costs. And then suddenly we can't afford it. And we go through this whole moment of sadness because we're here. And
Yeah. So that is something that I was telling the girls, like as we were driving back, because there were some areas where there were some bluebonnets already blooming.
really?
We've
Yeah.
had some crazy weather here in Texas, okay?
Oh my
Like
God.
cold,
Yeah.
hot, cold, hot, cold, hot. Today is hot.
Yes.
But driving back, it wasn't like a big patch, but
But
like
that they're
small
coming.
patches where you're like, oh, the bluebonnets are starting to bloom. And usually it's like, end of March through April-ish is when it's just like bluebonnet fields, right? And it's like, it's beautiful and things like that. So I was telling the girls that when it's bluebonnet season, then, we'll find a bluebonnet field and we'll do like a little photo shoot or whatever,
Oh,
because we've
yeah.
never done that before. But also bluebonnets are it's the state flower, right, of Texas?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. So I was thinking that'll be a fun little experience, right? And then again, you drive out an hour, it's not a big deal, right? But to other people, it's like an hour is so far away. So yeah, so I've already told them we'll drive back out to Brenham, do bluebonnets, and then we'll hit up the Bluebell factory again.
Well, listen, as
Or
a
ice
resident Texan, I want to warn you that when you guys do that, check your area first for
Yes.
critters. Okay.
Yep, because rattlesnakes and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to avoid the word, but yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I said it, so
Yeah, that's okay. I'll have nightmares tonight. I'll call you.
I'm sorry. Okay. So anyway, so we went to the Bluebell factory. Like I said, it was our first time, all of us. My mom came with us. Our first time there. And I had called ahead of time because, they have a visitor center. And I was like, okay, well, how much is admission? Because everything has a cost.
Sure.
And there is no cost to visit the Bluebell factory. And I'm like,
Are you
"What?"
serious?
Yes. So you can
Wow.
go visit the Bluebell factory. They have a little visitor center, which is it's like the history of Bluebell ice cream.
Okay.
And it started off as like Brenham Creamery or something like that. So they started off making butter.
No way.
That's how it started. Yeah.
I had no idea. Do they
manufactured
still
butter.
make butter?
I don't know if they still make butter, but
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
okay.
So,
Yeah. Well, it was super fascinating. They've been in business. Oh, what did they say? It's been over 100 years now.
Wow.
Right? That's what I said. No, it was super fascinating. So you get to see the history of Bluebell, and then they have fun like hats, the little
Yeah.
ice cream paper hat that you can wear as you're walking around the factory. So the visitor center, it's just one room, and then you can read about the history of how the company was made and things like that. And then like they have a section of like their different marketing campaigns and how they went through the different
Oh, that must
iterations
have been
of
interesting.
it. Was interesting. Like I was fascinated by it. The kids didn't even look at the marketing. They were just
Hmm.
looking at this is how they make the ice cream or whatever.
Yeah.
But the other thing that they have is, so that's one section, the visitor center with the history of, and then the marketing history of, and then you go into another building and you go upstairs, and then they have a store, right? So, it's like a gift shop. So they have a gift shop
Sure.
section, but they have a store where you can buy ice cream, like buy the
Sure.
scoop.
Okay.
And their scoops are like the little individual sized, you know how you can get the
Hmm.
individual sized Bluebell ice cream?
Oh,
Yeah, so
yes. Yes,
it's that
yes.
size.
With the
That is
little wooden
one
spoons.
yeah, so that is well, they gave us plastic spoons,
Right, but okay.
but that is
I'm
one
old.
scoop,
Yeah.
which to me I'm like that's a very big scoop.
That is a big scoop. Yeah.
So the kids, of course, they got more than one scoop. They got more than one flavor, but they have things available at the creamery that you can only like those flavors you can only get there.
Really? Like what?
Yes. So I got the mocha fudge pecan ice cream.
Oh, that sounds rich.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. I thought it was going to be like super, super sweet. It wasn't because it's
Really?
like, it's
That's
basically, it's
great.
coffee with like fudge drizzle in it and then like
Oh, that sounds
little chunks of
amazing.
pecans. And I mean, it was good. Um, I wanted to get the Dr. Pepper one, but I was like, I can get a big like
Yeah.
gallon size of the Dr. Pepper, right? Oh, and then they have these giant like they giant containers. I think they're commercial size, but they're, like it's bigger than my head
Yeah.
and I'm like, I want that. I want
You
that
got that?
size. I want that size ice cream. But I have nowhere
I
it
was gonna
would
say, how
fit.
did you get it home?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No. No, we just bought like the one scoop. It was a dollar per scoop.
When I was a kid, and I'm talking like little kid, like I'm talking
Uh-huh.
in the 70s, yeah, long before you were born. And um there was a flavor called that was Bluebell. It was called Tutti Frutti. And I have been
Oh.
looking for it my whole life. And I feel like now I dreamed it or something. I've never seen it again. But it was so good because it had these little like candies, almost gel like candies. I'm gonna look it up. Hold on.
Really?
I'm gonna look it up right
Yeah, tutti frutti. Okay. Well, okay, so the coolest thing about the Bluebell factory is like next to that shop area, you go down a hallway and you can actually they have an observation deck where you can go and see like the manufacturing of the ice cream. Now it's only one section. I
brought
I
it
was hoping
back.
I was hoping that we would be able to see the ice cream being made, but the part that you can watch is like the packaging. So they have
Oh,
like
okay.
the most fascinating um assembly line, and me, the systems and efficiency person in me was tickled by this because everything was just so it was very clear. Like once you go in there and you look at it, it's like, oh, that is where all the empty containers go. Oh, that is where they fill those empty containers. Oh, look, that's where they're putting the lids on the containers. And then another section, that is where they're like packaging them into the cartons, like to distribute. And one of the things
That's
that I
so
was
cool.
thinking about while I was there it was, I wonder how cold that room is, where all these people are working,
Oh, that's a good question. I wonder.
right? Yeah, because
Huh.
they're all wearing coats. I mean, not like parkas, but like white. It's like the white lab coat, so you
Did
can't
you
see.
did you ask anybody how cold it was
No,
in
I
there?
didn't ask anybody
Oh,
because
okay.
we saw that and then I was like, okay, let's get ice cream.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. But you can't see what they're wearing because they're all wearing the white lab style coats and then, hair nets and all that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, it was just interesting to me that the questions I had about what was happening down there were so different from the questions the kids had about what was happening down there, which was so different from the questions my mom had about what was happening
Really?
down there.
What were
Yeah.
some of the questions that the kids had?
Well, so the kids, they wanted to see the ice cream being made.
Oh,
And so they were like, where is that? Like, where does the ice cream get mixed or whatever? And I was like, well, this area, they also have signs everywhere that says no pictures, no videos.
okay.
Which I understand. You know, I'm like, it's probably like company secrets because they have it's intellectual property and all that kind of stuff. So they got bored of that area very quickly. And then they wanted to go back and get ice cream,
Mm.
which can't blame them, right?
No,
But
not at
yeah, like,
all.
yeah. So my questions were specific to like, well, how much does this produce like per hour? So
Yeah,
I'm thinking like, what is the output of the production?
sure.
What is the
Yeah,
production
that's a good
output of
question.
like this section of manufacturing, right? And then also like how is this the most efficient way to create the assembly line? Like how did they figure out this is the most efficient like sequence of actions to get to this point? And now my
Well,
mom was
that was
also in,
probably years of iteration.
oh,
Yeah.
probably, yeah. Now
And what was your mom's question?
so my like I said, my mom's questions were similar to the kids in that she wanted to see like how the ice cream was actually made or whatever. Um, but she had pointed out because there were sections where you could see like the big commercial size containers.
Hmm.
Like they would drop them down because they came from the ceiling. You
Oh,
know, there was
okay.
like a chute, and then it was just boop, 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 and they would all drop down. But she was watching those and then it's like, well, where does that go? Like, where does that go? How does that fit in with the rest of this? And I was like, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Fascinating. Well, that's really interesting.
it
Uh,
was. It was
huh.
super interesting. I think we're gonna go back frequently,
I think that's a good life plan.
especially
Uh,
over the summer. I think that would be fun. But
totally.
it was so nice to see a a place where you could access it without a charge because I mean I'm all about not consumerism but capitalism. It's like, yeah, make money, like money makes the world go round. um
Absolutely. Yeah. For
so
now.
yeah, for now. um the concept of capitalism, I'm like, I
Sure.
get it, I support it, but also if we could figure out a different way, like instead of using money currency, use like, I don't know,
Well, doesn't China use
contribution
social
currency,
currency? And I don't
social,
think
yeah,
China's method is good.
yeah.
Um,
Um, but see, me even saying that, it's like, okay, now people think that I'm like crazy.
communist?
Oh, is that what it is? Communism?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. She's not, guys. Trust me. Um, okay, on that note, Naja is
On
not a communist, but it's okay if you think so.
It is not okay if you think so. I care. I care about what people think
Okay,
about me.
yeah.
That hurts. That hurts my heart. That like heightened my anxiety just now. I care, but I also don't. So
I know. That's why I said that, because I've worked with you for a long time, so I know the truth. Um, this is a good place to end it though,
I think so. I
because my
agree.
wife cooked my lunch and I can smell it down there.
Ooh,
Um,
yeah. And my
I have no idea
daughter
what I'm
has,
having.
she finished her lunch a long time ago, but I am hungry. I should probably eat
What are you gonna
something.
eat?
I don't know.
Let's see what I'm gonna eat. Hold on. Let me open up the app.
I was gonna say I need to see what we have.
Let me see what I'm having. I am having garlic lime salmon. No, no, that I had that last night.
Okay, the fact that you have like fancy things and I'm like, I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna eat like soup or ramen or a
Well,
sandwich.
I think I don't know. I can't tell what she cooked, even though I got the notification that it was done um on the app. That's a lot of weird things to say out of
That is,
context.
yeah. I again, you're so spoiled. And
I
I love it.
am.
I love how spoiled you are. Andy is the best.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I try to do so many things to offset that because the way that she takes care of me is
Yeah.
incredible. So,
Yeah.
yeah, she, but, and she did that because I was, we're doing the show.
Yeah.
And with the Savala, I do a lot of the cooking because I can. Because
Mhm.
see, Andy, it's so funny that we own a food blog because Andy is an amazing cook,
Yeah.
but she has a tremendous aversion to recipes. It is
Which
such
is
a struggle.
hilarious.
Yeah, it is such a struggle. She cannot follow recipes or instructions very well, as a general rule, by the way, in life.
Yeah.
And so she's a pantser. And so it causes problems because she'll come up with an idea for a recipe and
Yeah.
they'll be like, great, we'll take pictures. And I'll be like, okay, now I need the recipe. And she'll be
Mhm.
like, I can't give it to you. And I'm like, so can we just reverse engineer what you did here?
Uh-huh.
And so like we'll have these amazing recipes. We just have one we just published. Took us months to get it done because of this problem. Let me see if I can show you. I'll send it to just you. Sorry. Oh, here we go. Nope, that's not it. Anyway, we just did this amazing recipe, but it took her literally months to get it to me because she was like, I don't know. I don't know. And she had to keep remaking it, which was a great experience for
Yeah.
me.
Right. You're like, yeah, I'll totally be your tester. Let me make sure that you did this correct.
Yeah, I can't find it now because I just republished a whole bunch of stuff because I didn't
Uh-huh.
redesign the website. But anyway, it was great. So that's just funny.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us if you were here live. And then if
Mhm.
you're listening to this after the fact, thank you too. Also, in addition to.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. We will see you guys next time.